News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana, 16 regions including Radio Sangmaliwa, Jubilee Radio Keta, Radio Victory, and Bupi FM Bupe. Also live on X Spaces, Facebook, and myjoyonline.com interactive app. The midday news is sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank, the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. Coming up, Konfanochi Teaching Hospital turning away some patients on dialysis as challenges with equipment continue to bite hard on the facility and patients.
One of the most difficult calls I have had to make as a chief executive was when I was approached by my medical director, and who posed the question as to whether or not he was okay to send patients who needed dialysis to private facilities for dialysis. As difficult as our call was, it had to be made because we do not have sufficient dialysis machines.
We're live there. Also coming up, National Health Insurance Scheme struggles and leaves patients stranded at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
Health insurance, almost 50 Monday payment, but 2,000.
Also in this bulletin, Ghana currently experiencing heat waves as Ghana Meteorological Agency warns the high temperatures will pose serious health risks to the public, especially vulnerable people.
Heat will manifest as dizziness and there's some blackouts. While if it goes to the very extreme and the body temperature goes about 40 degrees Celsius, people can go into what we call heat stroke.
We'll hear from medical experts on what you can do to stay safe. Also, Alexander Fanyomakin assumes leadership of the majority caucus in Parliament after shocking resignation of Oseche Mensah following days of deep cracks on its front bench.
We all saw this coming. The question is, was he pushed or did he jump? And I think from the series of events and all our discussion right from Monday to this point, I think he was pushed.
We'll hear from some minority MPs also reacting to his resignation.
We are picking some information that he's not a happy person. And the information we got is that he was virtually forced out. He was unwilling to go.
And even if there was an attempt to push him out, it is simply because he's been tamed. And that is why that attempt may have succeeded.
And Victor, what do we have in sports?
Well, the Ghana Olympic Committee is promising an improved bonus package to the Black Queens if they qualify for the Paris Olympic Games.
You want to stay for that? And we have reaction from young Ghanaians after social media sensation Hajia for Real pleaded guilty to charges of romance scam. Fine girl, fine. Fine girl, fine girl, fine girl, fine. These are more coming up with me, Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson. You want to stay with us? We'll be back shortly. In our first story, the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital is turning some patients in need of dialysis to private facilities due to insufficient equipment for the procedure. Presently, only one dialysis machine is fully functional, supporting another partially working. Chief Executive Officer Professor Dr. Ochre Adai-Mensah says the decision to limit dialysis to patients of the hospital is the hardest taken under his tenure. He spoke at a meeting with the Finance Minister, who told the mother and baby unit being constructed at the hospital. Nana Yaujima has more.
Dialysis is a procedure to remove waste products and excess fluid from the blood when the kidney stops working properly. The failure of kidney patients to get the service when necessary may lead to death. The Konfanochi Teaching Hospital is a referral hospital for 12 of the 16 regions in the country. Its nephrology unit is challenged with the necessary tools for the procedure despite the relevance. Professor Ochre Adai-Mensah explains some critical decisions the hospital has taken.
The truth is that we at Konfanochi presently have, I usually say, 1.5 dialysis machines. And it's because one is working at full capacity, the other is working at fault. And so what it means is that we are no longer able to receive patients from outside for dialysis. So the dialysis in this hospital is restricted to 2 patients who are within the hospital. One of the most difficult calls I have had to make as a chief executive was when I was approached by my medical director, and who posed the question as to whether or not he was okay to send patients who needed dialysis to private facilities for dialysis. As difficult as our call was, it had to be made because we do not have sufficient dialysis machines. And Mr. Minister, the truth is that for each dialysis session, it takes 4 hours. And so what it means is that if you have 2 dialysis machines in-house and you have, say, 5 patients who need dialysis, what it means is that if God does not intervene, then by the time he gets to the turn of the 5th person, he probably would have popped off.
Meanwhile, the challenge with spacing continues to affect the hospital's operations. Professor Dr. Ade Mensah explained though the hospital is constrained, they are forced to congest their facilities.
Indeed, if Komfanoche decides to close off the emergency center for 24 hours because it is full, and as we speak, the place is meant, orange ward is meant for 12. We presently have about 42 patients. Yellow is meant for 18. We have about 27 patients. Red is meant for 7. We have about 10 patients there as we speak now. And so if we decided that we're no longer receiving emergencies, obviously because the place is full, what it means is that we are practically asking patients who come in who are turned away to go and die.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, that's a report from Kumasi. Now, the Finance Minister Mohammed Amin Adam had this response when he was confronted with the reality facing the hospital.
Can I show you, because of the concern by our president, the directive for us to find money and address these outstanding infrastructure issues. You have seen us moving very quickly. And this visit by me demonstrates that commitment to addressing these challenges so we can bring relief to the people of Kumasi, Ashanti region. And I know that a lot of cases are referred to Komfanoche from other regions of the country.
Well, Nanaya Ojima joins us on the line for more on this. Nanaya, so how are kidney patients coping with this situation?
So it's been a difficult time for some of these patients because some of them are now being referred to other health facilities and they return back to the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital with some complications, which the doctors say they cannot explain. So a lot of them believe that if tooling of Komfanoche is done, it will get treatment for these patients, will get better for them.
So are these patients able to even afford services at these private facilities? How are they coping with the changing situation in those areas?
Some of them are saying it's been very expensive for them. Already the treatment that they are receiving, even as Komfanoche, is having a toll on their financing. And for them to be referred to private health facilities who are charging more than the public health facility, some of them are unable to pay. So a lot of them are now, being left at home because they are unable to foot the bills in these private health facilities.
Nanaya Ojima, thank you very much, and he is our correspondent on the ground following up on this. But now, let's speak to President of the Renal Patients Association of Ghana, Bafo Kojo Ahinkra. Mr. Bafo, we're grateful for your time on the Midday News. It appears that the issue of dialysis treatment for kidney patients are not improving. What's the situation across the country for your members?
Whether we will agree to that.
Mr. Bafo, if you can hear me as I'm asking, the issue of dialysis treatment seems not to be improving for patients undergoing that treatment. What is the situation across the country?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like you just rightly said, the situation is something I don't even know how to describe it. Even in Kolebu, it's very serious. We don't have enough machines. Patients come. We've been categorized that we are supposed to come. Some are getting one slot a week because we are too many. They are not getting their 2 sessions. A whole lot. So we need more machine in the system. We need more machine in the system, and then we hear the price will be going up to already is something we cannot pay. Kolebu, we are paying 380. That is Still, patients cannot even pay. Patients have struggled to pay. And this always brings the burden to patients. They are not looking well. They are looking sick. And my dear, anything you can think of about treatment of dialysis in the country is very bad.
Well, in the scheme of affairs, have you taken any measures? Have you taken any step to, have some form of conversation with leaders involved in this area?
No, currently no. We are now putting ourselves together to write to the Ministry of Health to have an engagement with them, and that of the National Health Insurance too. We want to have engagement there. But the point is, the fundamental is we need more machine in the system. Now, Kolebu, where the dialysis center is, it's far from where the inpatients are. And always they have to transport them in an ambulance to get there. Kolebu don't have enough ambulance to. And before the ambulance will come and pick the patients to where the dialysis center is, it's another different ballgame altogether. So we need machines in the system.
Well, we understand that there are steps taken in the direction of the fees and whatnot, but how soon are you going to engage maybe the health ministry and then the hospital directors in this regard?
For the hospital directors, that is from the radar department, next week we are meeting them. We've written to them, we want to meet them. Then from there, we want to meet the Ministry of Health to have this engagement. For the price, we understand that unless Parliament approves, and if Parliament is going to approve, then fine. So if that be the case, then we have to meet Parliament too, for them to understand the situation. Honorable Minta Akando, I think the ranking member for health, he came here during the lockdown, the time they locked the place up, to ascertain the situation. Yes. So at least for now, we are now trying to put things in place to meet them. But they know. They know the situation. They know the situation at hand.
Well, we hope for a better outcome in this situation. Thank you so much, Renal Patients Association of Ghana. That's the President Bafo Kojo Ahinkra. Still on health issues. In the second part of Joy News' feature on the National Health Insurance Scheme challenges, we delve into the heart of the matter at Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital once again, where the underfunded scheme has left countless patients stranded. My colleague Clinton Yabwa uncovers more in this feature.
Outside of the imposing gate of the accident and emergency unit of the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and the waiting room of the KNUST Hospital, a restless crowd gather with their faces imprinted with worry and desperation. These are not just visitors earnestly waiting for good news concerning their sick relatives, but patients and family members perturbed with medical bills they cannot foot. Gifty Boache almost shed a tear talking about her sick mother. She has spent days at the hospital, banking hopes on the National Health Insurance Scheme, which she describes as stale.
The scheme has become stale. Now, if you do not have money, you won't receive quality health care. Why? We have to pay for almost all the services received.
There have been several complaints about the quality of NHIS service provided by some health facilities across the Ashanti region. Some individuals are reporting long delays in receiving treatment due to not having a health insurance card. They disclose instances of lack of essential medication due to inadequate coverage of expenses. These required subscribers to purchase medicines that they expected should be covered under the scheme.
Look at the number of drugs they have prescribed for me. Why would we be buying all sorts of drugs if it's working?
According to the 2023 medicine list of the National Health Insurance, appraised by a specialist group, the currently reviewed medicines list contains a total of 548 formulations. Childhood immunizations, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and mental health care are exempted from the scheme. The document disclosed that executive management of the NHIA has directed and approved a 20% increase in the prices of medicines as a stopgap measure to mitigate the recent increases in prices of medicines on the open market.
Health insurance, me necessary yet more has because you know to you na to do almost 50 Monday in payment but to do a 2,000.
Well, Clinton Yabwa filed that report. Now, there are heat waves blowing across the country, with the meteorological agency warning the high temperatures will pose serious health risks to the public, especially vulnerable people. A weather warning issued by the agency explains that the sun's movement from the southern to the northern hemisphere will cause the country to experience high temperatures, which will persist till April. We hear from the agency shortly, but first, Joy News editor Fred Smith will have details of the forecast. Fred, tell us more about this forecast.
Well, the GMET is saying that the sun is on its apparent movement from the southern hemisphere towards the northern hemisphere, and is expected to be on the equator on March 20, 2024. And in view of this, an increase in temperature is expected from now through March till April 2024. And these high temperatures, it says, pose health risks to the public and especially the vulnerable people. It says that maximum temperatures will range with a range of 33 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius and 36 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius are expected over the southern and northern halves respectively. Minimum temperature is anticipated to range between 22 Celsius and 27 Celsius across the country, and there's advice on what people can do. It says you should stay hydrated, find shade, or use umbrellas, hats during the peak period, which is between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And it says that opt for lightweight and light colored clothing.
Interesting there. Well, the agency also talks about the transition from the dry season to the rainy season.
Well, it says that the period also coincides with the transition from the dry season into the major rainy season for the southern Ghana, and the rains during this period will be less frequent but very violent. And it says that expect localized rain and thunderstorms occasionally with strong winds across the country.
Thank you, Fred Smith, editor. Join you as well. Felicity Ahafianyo is the chief weather forecaster at the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
For 2024, and then the climatological data that we have with the model chart that we are using to do our predictions, there are indications that temperatures during the period between February now to April will be on the higher side. The afternoons will be very hot. Then some areas will be extremely hot in terms of figures. For the southern sector, we expect the range to be between 33 and 37. So if you are within Greater Accra, Central, Western North, your temperatures are likely to be 33 and slightly above. If you are within Eastern region, part of Volta region, if you are with Ashanti region, Western North, and then part of Oti into Bono area, we are expected to have between 34 into 37.
Professor at the University of Ghana Medical School, Titus Bayo, says elderly persons can get blackouts and warned against outdoor activities, especially political campaigns.
And when you look at the projected rise that they are mentioning and put it in our context, we should have some source for concern and take some precautionary measures. So there are some persons in the community that are of higher risk to what we call heat-related illness. In normal people with good thermoregulation, their body should be able to adjust to this even high temperatures. But in the elderly, they can get what we call heat exhaustion if their body's thermoregulation fails and the temperature rises between 37 to 40. You can get heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion will manifest as dizziness, headache, some can get some blackouts. While if it goes to the very extreme and the body temperature goes about 40 degrees Celsius, people can go into what we call heat stroke, and heat stroke can lead to confusion, delirium, people can go into heat coma and can even go to death.
Let's turn our attention to Parliament now. Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Opanyumakin will now lead government business for the Majority Caucus in Parliament following the surprising resignation of Osei Mensah Bonsu. The departure of Osei Mensah Bonsu comes after days of speculation marked by deep cracks on the front bench. His resignation has attracted various reactions, especially from parliamentary watchers and elderly members of the governing party. Before we hear from them, here's how parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante captures the events leading to his exit.
It's been a rancorous week within the governing New Patriotic Party in Parliament. The rumours had been swelling for days about moves to remove the Swami MP, Osei Chairman Sabonsu, from his role as majority leader. But things hit the ceiling on Monday when the item found its way on the agenda of the NPP's NEC and National Council's meetings. The next day, First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei led a number of NPP MPs at a news conference in Parliament, insisting no such change will be countenanced.
To assure you that we have confidence in the leadership as they are, and the status quo shall remain. The Parliament of Ghana has adopted standing orders which places the selection and change or otherwise of leadership in the hands of the caucus and not anybody outside Parliament.
But this did not end the talks of an impending shakeup. The now former majority leader himself only told Joy News that the people seeking to get him out can't continue.
There are claims that you are being schemed to be removed as majority leader. Have you have any response to that?
No comment.
On Wednesday, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin waded into the controversy, ruling that political parties can change and appoint its leaders in Parliament, or at least be the ones to start the process.
You cannot be talking about you designating or appointing your leaders without the party leading the process.
Even as this ruling was being digested, there was a meeting at the Jubilee House to resolve the impasse. It was at this meeting that Osei Chairman Sabonsu tendered in his resignation as majority leader. Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Rahman, believes the former majority leader was pushed out.
We all saw this coming. And, the question is, was he pushed or did he jump? And I think from the series of events and all our discussion right from Monday to this point, I think he was pushed.
Well, this afternoon, some minority MPs say the Swami MP's resignation isn't a surprise because they've always known he was forced out. The House is yet to be officially informed of the resignation, but some of the MPs believed he served his time, and if Afenyo Marking is confirmed as the new leader, he's competent enough to lead. Listen.
We are picking some information that he's not a happy person, and the information we got is that he was virtually forced out, he was unwilling to go. The information I also picked reliably is the fact that he wanted to be made the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and I'm told the current Minister for Foreign Affairs intend contesting for some position within the sub-region, and therefore going and leaving the ministry and was going to be detrimental in her campaign. Be it as it may, I think that it's going to affect Parliament. But let me also state that Afenyo has enough experience. At least I came to Parliament with Afenyo and the Chief Parliament, and he has demonstrated his ability to be able to do what is supposed to be done by a leader.
One of the important rules in any game is knowing when to walk away. And I think that time and experience, to a very large extent, have tamed Osei Chairman Sabonsu. And even if there was an attempt to push him out, it is simply because he's been tamed. And that is why that attempt may have succeeded. But I would want to believe that he's served his time. He's contributed immensely.
You heard MP for Tamale Central Ibrahim Motala Mohammed and Tamale North MP Hassan Sueni. Let's go now to Parliament and speak to Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante. Kweku, have you been able to speak to the majority side on this development?
Yes, I've caught up with one of the deputy ministers designate, Alexa Nakusiakwa. He believes that his side is calm despite talks of rancor, despite talks of intent division. He believes that the party have been able to deal with this issue and all is well in their caucus.
I believe what the party should do, and I have always been challenging these issues as parties.
Well, Kweku, so, it's the day after. What's the mood in the House? Have you set eyes on Afenyo Marking or even the former majority leader?
Well, both of these two gentlemen have not come to the floor of the House yet. In fact, if Osei Chairman Sabonsu were to come to Parliament today, he will still come in as majority leader. He will still take his seat because the party's national council is going to meet tomorrow. It is at this meeting that it will firm up the approval and send a letter to Parliament confirming same. So despite Osei Chairman Sabosu informing the party and the president of his intention to resign, he's still technically the majority leader because his desk is still there. No one is taking that seat. His name is still on that desk. And if he's to come in today, we take that seat until the MPP officially communicates to the Speaker of Parliament of this change.
Well, on other issues, especially the anti-LGBTQ bill, what has become of it was the latest in the House.
Well, the House has just about 2 interpretations of the bill to move out, and then they can get to the third reading. The Speaker of Parliament himself has taken the seat now. They are taking some statements now. We expect that right after this, the Speaker of Parliament will lead the process to get this bill passed.
Thank you so much, Kwekwa Asante, who is our parliamentary correspondent. You're still listening to the Midday News brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity, and Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank, the only water storage tank with a level indicator. You've been hearing Konfanoche Teaching Hospital turning away some patients on dialysis as challenges with equipment continue to bite hard. We have sports, and also coming up shortly, we have a reaction from young Ghanaians after social media sensation Hadja For Real pleaded guilty to charges of romance scam.
And I really believe that she's not even the only one doing these kinds of things. It's just that the other people's cups are not full.
She has really worried the route a lot.
Fine girl, fine girl, fine girl, fine.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Dive into a new era of news consumption with myjoyonline.com, your go-to destination for cutting-edge journalism, giving you the most credible stories from business to politics and from sports to entertainment. Myjoyonline.com introduces an upgraded news website meticulously designed to empower you with an enriched browsing experience like never before. Experience the future of news browsing with myjoyonline.com.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We have sports now. Victor, what's in sports?
Well, the Ghana Olympic Committee is promising to improve the bonus packages for the Black Queens if they qualify for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. President of the GOC, Benino Mensah, made the promise to the Queens, who are already owed $7,500 each from 6 qualifying games.
We've made every arrangement having in mind that you ladies are definitely going to be in Paris with us. We need to go there and show what Ghanaian football is made of. Thank you. I wish you all the best. First, go over Zambia, and then once we have more for the team, we'll make sure that we're sending it to your federation and to be used to support your federation.
But Victor, when are they playing them?
So the games are tomorrow, 4 p.m. at the Accra Sports Stadium.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. Now, in showbiz, some Ghanaians say Hadja For Real, the Ghanaian social media star who pleaded guilty to romance fraud in the United States, must face punishment for her action. My colleague Jacqueline Asumayabo has more.
Hadja For Real was extradited to the United States from the United Kingdom over her alleged involvement in a 2 million romance scam, locally called Sakawa, targeting older single Americans in May 2023. Prosecutors said she was charged with conspiracy to commit and committing wire fraud and money laundering, each of which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years imprisonment. In total, Hadja For Real controlled bank accounts that received over $2 million in fraudulent funds from the enterprise. But the social media personality initially pleaded not guilty to all charges in May 2023. In a new development on Wednesday, information on the U.S. Attorney Office website says she pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy to receiving stolen money. This charge carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Well, her followers have been reacting to this new development.
I lost it for her because when I first heard of these kind of things, I just knew it was true. Because some things were just not making sense to me. And I really believe that she's not even the only one doing these kinds of things. It's just that the other people's cups are not full yet.
She has really worried the youth a lot because she was the one that should be saying, ladies, the youth should hustle and then get more money. I'm a little bit disappointed in her.
She has to pay for what she has done. But with her personality and how I see her, it doesn't really change anything.
Well, Jackie, her situation is really unfortunate. But what have people been saying on social media?
Well, Mami, see a lot. Her admirers are still rooting for her, regardless of what is happening. They are still for Haji Arel. But a couple of people are saying that she still deserves what is happening to her. So someone says that she's a smooth criminal. I'm trying to understand what a smooth criminal is. But, I feel she actually addressed all these things some months ago. And it's good that she came out to say that, well, she's accepted and she's going to pay the amount.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie. Jackie of Jackie and Max fame. And that's how we end the Midday Bulletin. It's brought to you live from Joy 99.7 FM and over affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. Also brought to you at Petrosol. Always a delightful experience. Duraplus Ghana Limited water tank, and where Duraplus goes, water flows. Pastor Mensa Audible is up next.